Okay, this is my second attempt at this, and I just erased 7 or 8 minutes worth of recording work. So even if I mess this up, I'm just going to push through. Heads up. So this is our video for Algebra 2, Day 2. I know the 2 is underneath my video face there, but just believe me, there is a 2 there. So this video is for anybody who is missing the second day of class and you want to know, what did we go over? What activity did we do? What am I supposed to know for class? And if you were absent from class and you are watching this video, then you are already ahead of the game because you are already doing what some of the content of this lesson is going to go over. So I want to talk about the safety nets in our syllabus. So that's a little section of your syllabus, and it's going to appear on the screen here in a moment. What are the safety nets for this class? First question is like, what is a safety net? Well, a safety net is a class policy that is put in place to help you if you fall behind. So we would all love to have this like perfect school year where nobody ever falls behind. And you never miss a homework assignment, and you never bomb a test, and you never struggle with any of the content, and we just skate through and everybody understands everything. But we also know that that is not how life goes, and none of us knows what's going to happen between now and the end of the school year. And it is possible that at some point in this school year, you're going to fall behind in this class, and you don't want falling behind to mean that you have to fail. So we want there to be a way for you to bring up that grade and recover that grade even in the event that you fall behind. So a safety net is a class policy that is there to catch you if that happens to you at some point. So there are 3 safety nets that are listed on your syllabus, and I'm going to cover another one in this presentation. But we have late work, okay, lessons and demo videos that are available, and then after school help, and then we also have a grade recovery option. So I'll go into detail with each of these on the next couple of slides. So late work. Want to be really clear at this. The expectation is that work is submitted on time. So all of you are young adults, and in a couple years, maybe 1 year, maybe a few years, you are going to be managing like your own finances, and with that come deadlines. Okay, your credit card bills are going to have a deadline. Your mortgage is going to have a deadline. Some of you already, have a car payment or something, and it has a deadline, and you are expected to pay those things by that deadline. Okay, if you have, what did I have come up fairly recently? It was a federal court, like my name got pulled to be a potential juror. Okay. And so I got this thing from Florida, the court system, and I had to fill it out, and there was a deadline. And if I didn't meet that deadline, there was a consequence for it. Okay. So deadlines are a part of life. And when you don't meet those deadlines, there are penalties attached to it, and it might be like, usually it'll be like an interest charge or like a fee. You go like a long time without paying your electric bill, they're going to cut off your electricity. Okay. So the expectation is that you are going to submit your work on time. You're going to be in class. I'm going to tell you what the assignment is. It's going to be due, and then you're going to turn it in when it is due. If you are absent, okay, you guys have like 4 classes a day. If you are absent, you are missing stuff for 4 classes. And some of that stuff you might need to be in class in order to be able to make it up. But for this class, there is a video lesson. You are watching one right now that will go over the material from that class. And so what I want you to try to do is watch that video lesson and attempt the homework the best you can. I understand that attempt where you're not in class might not be your greatest attempt, but it's definitely better than letting that work pile up. Now, I also understand that there are times when you can't do that when you're absent. If you have to have surgery or you're really sick and you just are sleeping all day, I expect you to rest if you're really sick. Okay, if you're recovering from surgery, if you are out of the country or something, and I actually have had this happen where I've had students leave the country, and the country that they were in blocked all of our school websites. So they honestly didn't have any way of accessing anything. Okay, I'm not talking about those situations. But if you missed class because you had an orthodontist appointment, make sure that you're hopping onto the website later and you're watching that video and you're trying to figure out what happened in that class so that you're not accumulating work that isn't necessary for you to accumulate. Now, if you are absent, you do have 1 day for each day of absence to make up the work without penalty. So whether you do it or not, I'm not going to penalize that work until you get past that deadline. Okay, so you do have that deadline. I'm just encouraging you to use the resources that are available so that we can avoid like kind of slamming up against that deadline. Now, here's the policy. I do accept work late, but I accept it for a maximum grade of 70%. Now, that's not a guaranteed grade of 70%. So it's not like you can just not do any homework and then turn in a pile of stuff and just get a 70 on it. If you turn in work that is incomplete, it's only half done, it is unreadable, illegible, like that sort of thing, I'm not giving you a 70% for that. It just means that you're maxing out at a 70% on that late work, which is a lot better than a 0, which is what it would be if you were if you just left it undone. Okay, so you don't have to ask me, Ms. Taylor, will you take this late? Like, yes, I will take it late. Now there's a couple of stipulations that are attached to that. Late work will be accepted until the day of the in-class test. Now, the point of work is not to make your life miserable, and it's not to take up your afternoons so that you can't do other stuff. The point of your homework and most of your assignments, like whether they're homework or in class, is to reinforce something that we covered in class, to give you that opportunity to practice it and to generate questions that you might have and that you need to have answered before you get to that test. After you take the test, there is no educational benefit to going back and doing that practice work. Okay. So after the in-class test, after that's gone, your missing homework grades will be backfilled by your in-class test grade. Now you might be thinking, well, how do I know what I'm going to get on the test? You don't. And so you need to plan this. So if you think like you're keeping up with stuff pretty well and you're like, I'm going to get a 90 on that test, then you probably would like to have that backfilled grade instead of the 70%. If you're not feeling confident and you're like, I think I'm going to fail this test, then you want to make sure you're grabbing that 70% so that you don't get your homework backfilled with a 35. Okay. Once that grade is plugged, it's plugged. Okay. So you can't go back and keep like redoing it. All right. Students with IEPs or 504s will have their extended time documented in Focus, after which you are subject to the regular policy. All right. Now, there's another safety net that I actually didn't put in here, and that is that I do allow retakes on your tests, but it's the second grade that is going to count, even if the second grade is lower. And the reason for that is because I'll have students that just want to take another shot at it. They're like, oh, I saw it once, I'll just take another shot at it. And they don't study and they don't prepare. Well, your tests don't like grade themselves. So when you guys do a retake, it takes up after school time for you to do that retake, for you and for me. And I also have to go through the trouble of grading your test again. And I really want to make sure that you're putting in the effort that you need to put in to make sure that that second grade is going to be higher and you're not wasting both of our times. Okay. And when we get to the first test, I'll kind of outline what my recommendations for that. However, your retake grade is not going to be your backfill grade. Okay, so that's why even if you're 90% sure you're going to do a retake, you still want that original grade to be the best it can be if you have homework that needs to be backfilled. Okay, that might have been a little bit confusing of a slide in terms of like the late work and what the policy is and how the backfilling works. If you got questions, you guys know my email address. Okay, it's taylor@duvalschools.org. Just send me an email or post a question on Teams, and I'll get back to you and I'll try to clarify anything that might not have been clear in that slide. Lessons and demo videos. So if you're watching this, you're probably got a leg up on the lessons and demo videos. Okay. All lessons will either be recorded or have a previous version recorded from last year. Okay, so I actually did a bunch of videos last year. We transitioned over to the new curriculum. Some of those I'm probably going to redo. Some of them I might use as is. Okay. It depends on how I want to play around with my notes and stuff. But every content lesson is going to have a video that goes with it. I record all my own lessons so that your notes, your homework, and your tests are going to align with the posted video. If you just go onto the interwebs and you go onto YouTube or you go to Khan Academy, you can find some great videos and you can find some horrible videos. But if you're just kind of guessing, you don't know if what's happening in that video is the same as what you're going to see on your test. You don't know if the teacher in that video is doing it the same way that I'm doing it. And so you really want to try to stick with my videos, because I will be able to tell you, this is what you're expected to know. This is what you're going to be expected to do. You might see a problem on this test. Sometimes I'll even do review videos of the study guides and stuff like that. So please, please, please take advantage of the fact that I record the videos. They don't record themselves. Okay, I do have to take time after school, at home, on the weekends, whatever, to record those videos, get them processed, get them uploaded, and then linked over for you to have. So it's something that I think is a really great resource for you. These videos are available for making up instruction for an absence. So if you are absent from class, and I mentioned that on one of the first slides there, that you can make up the material by watching the video. And it's not a random video. It's a video of your teacher in your class on that lesson, going over what it is you're expected to know. Reteaching material that you may not have caught on the first presentation. And the truth is that my videos, they're the same lesson that I teach in class, but every class period is different. We might have a fire drill someday, or, I might not be having one of my best days, and you might actually like the video version, or I say something in the video version that's better than what I ended up doing in class. Yeah, so sometimes it helps to review, pause, or rework the material from the lesson. The video is there for you even if you were in class. So if you were in class, but you realize, oh man, I missed like this example problem doesn't make any sense. I think I missed some lines to it. Go look at the video, fast forward the video, to that example problem, and just double check your work and make sure that you have all that material in your notes the way it should be. And honestly, I can say this from my own experience as a math student, that sometimes stuff is just better the second time. Okay. If you've ever watched a movie more than once or a TV show more than once, you know that you can catch things the second time through. Exact same movie, exact same TV show, and you catch something new when you watch it again. And the same is going to be true for your math lessons. So for your absences, but also for your own personal review. And they're all housed on YouTube, so you can put them on double speed and just kind of go over them really fast. You don't have to listen to them in the time frame that I recorded them. In fact, I wouldn't want to, because I don't like to listen to my own videos. All right, videos will be available in the online notebook, and they'll be organized by unit and date. I kind of got better at that last year as the year went on. I started dating them, so you knew what date. And this year, my Algebra 2 classes are all on the same day, which makes it a lot less confusing. So when I have classes on A day and B day, it definitely is more confusing. Sometimes I'll be leading with A day or leading with B day, and this year, my Algebra 2 classes are on B day, so there'll be one date. If you can't find what you need, please email me. So if you are absent or you're looking for a particular video that reviews a particular concept and you're like, I don't remember what day we did that, I don't know what I should be looking for, send me an email. I want to be able to connect you with the resources that's going to help you out. And if you can do it from home, it's a lot easier and more convenient than staying after school, which is also an option that we'll get into. But I want to connect you to where you need to be. All right, after school help. So I just mentioned you can stay after school. I plan to stay most Mondays until 3 p.m. and I will let you know if I can't. So I actually actively avoid scheduling doctor's appointments and stuff on Mondays so that I can be here until 3. I can't always promise you that that's going to be the case. I can't necessarily promise you that I'll be here every single Monday because I don't know what's going to happen with me. But that is the plan, to stay most Mondays until 3 p.m. And I will let you know through Teams. I'll announce it in class, and I'll post like an announcement in Teams too, like if I know that I'm going to have some kind of conflict and I won't be able to stay. What is after school help useful for? Okay, so what does it do? And then we'll go into like, what does it not do? So your teacher has an after school help session. What is that useful for? It's useful for asking questions that did not get answered in class. For example, if you requested to go over a homework problem that we did not have time to get to, because the truth is I have 90 minutes, I have a lesson, I want to do review, we got to do the warm up, the homework review, the lesson, the practice, make sure you guys know what your homework is. And I have to keep my eye on that clock the whole time. So there are times where you might have a question and I just kind of have to pull the plug on the review time. Okay, it's not personal. I'm not singling you out. If I could make sure that there was always sufficient time for everything, but that would be a great thing to bring after school. Okay, great thing to bring after school and say, okay, I really wanted you to go over problem number 5 and you didn't go over problem number 5. Awesome. We'll take a look at your work. We'll go over that together. It's great for doing one-on-one review of your homework in more detail than can be done in class. For example, if I circle things on your homework and you're not sure why. So I'm going to do my best in class in real time to give you feedback on your homework. And so I might circle some stuff that I notice needs your attention. And you're looking at your homework, you're like, I have no idea why she circled this. Like, I don't know what's wrong. So bring that homework with you after school and we can go over it. It could be something structurally that you're not showing the way I wanted you to show it, or you made a mistake. Maybe, I don't know. But we can actually do that on one-on-one or small group. It depends on how many people stay. But that's the kind of thing that's difficult to do during class because I have 25 30 other students in class. And so that's a great use of after school time. And for making up missed in-class tests or doing a retake of a test that you did poorly on. So I would really prefer to do those after school because then they don't erode, your current class time. You're not using your current class time to get that done. Now, what is after school help not useful for? Because sometimes we have unrealistic expectations of what we can do. It is not useful for getting a complete reteach of the material. Okay. And I'll have students come in and they'll say stuff like, well, I don't understand anything. One, probably not true. Okay. You understand something. You just don't feel like you've got it. And then they want me to reteach this whole thing. Please use the video resources for this first. So that's why I'm recording all those lessons. So if what you need is a total reteach, go look at that video first, make some notes on the video, and then come afterwards with the questions like, Ms. Taylor, in the lesson, you did this example, and I don't understand that example. Okay. That would be beneficial. But if what you want me to do is start the lesson from the beginning, please access the video first and kind of narrow down what pieces of that lesson that you genuinely need to go over. The other thing it's not good for is asking questions on an entire unit's worth of material. Okay, so it's only 1 hour, maybe not even 1 hour by the time you get out of whatever your last block class is and go to the bathroom and get a drink of water and say goodbye to your friends. And then you get to my room and it's like 2:10 by the time you get over to my room. So then we have 50 minutes. If you have a massive amount of questions, you need to plan to stay more than once. So it's, because we have until 3. And then I have to get on with my, whatever grading and whatever lesson planning or a doctor's appointment or whatever I have going on after school. So it is not useful for asking, this stockpile of questions. Plan to stay more than once, or email me some of those questions, or access that video first and see if you can narrow down what the list of questions is. Okay. Now grade recovery. I mentioned I do allow test retakes, and then there is grade recovery also, and I want to be really clear about what that is. So grade recovery is a way to change a posted grade for an entire quarter after the quarter has closed. And so this would be if it's not just one test or one homework assignment, but this really did not work for you for the entire quarter. And sometimes what can happen is, it's hard to time your tests. And, we might have a test. I won't give you a test like in the last 2 days or 2 or 3 days of the quarter, and then count it on that quarter, because you don't have time to leverage those safety nets. But sometimes it does get a little bit closer. It is what it is. So you might find that you need to recover a grade for the quarter. Grade recovery will be available for first and third terms. If it's a second or fourth term, then we're looking at like you missed a credit, and you might be doing a credit recovery. So that's when it comes to grade recovery, what we're really interested in is not like making sure every kid gets an A, because that's not going to be possible anyway. It's about making sure that you get the credit, the math credit towards your graduation. So it will be available for first and third terms. If it's second or fourth, you're going to go through a different route to fix that. Grade recovery does work, but it is not easy. And that's something that sometimes takes a little while to dispel, a misconception that students have, like, oh, well, if I fail the quarter, Miss Taylor will give me a packet and I can photo math the whole packet, or I can work on with my tutor and we'll do the packet and we'll cover it in 3 hours, and then my F will get changed to a B. Not what it is. Okay. It is not going to be some easy fix. If you spent 9 weeks and you had zeros, and you had that you never plugged that grade, or you have tests that you failed and you never did the retake, and you never addressed those things, then it's not going to be like a 3-hour job to recover that. Okay, that was like 9 weeks of ugh. And it does happen, but it's not going to be easy. You will need to work on old material at the same time that you're trying to keep up with new material. So one of the requirements is that if you fail the first quarter and you're going to do grade recovery for first quarter, that you cannot turn right around and fail second quarter. You need to be maintaining a passing grade for second quarter at the same time that you are working on making a first quarter. Okay, so it's a lot of work, and it's going to require some sacrifice and some balance. It will involve watching every lesson from the entire 9 weeks without skipping them, and then answering questions from the videos and the material in them. So I mentioned I record all these videos and I put all of them into your grade recovery. And then I set it so that you cannot get to the questions unless you watch the video. And some of the questions come directly from the video, so you cannot have like your tutor do them unless your tutor's also going to watch the video. Okay, I don't know how much you're paying your tutor, but like, okay, so it's if you think every video lesson is between like 20 and 45 minutes, and then you figure how many of those lessons are there in the 9 weeks, that's how much video you have to watch and also answer the questions on them. So it's a pretty hefty chunk of work. Last year I had only, that's a typo, I had only had, but what did I say? I said I am not redoing this video. So about 6 students complete grade recovery all year. So I had most of the students that needed to do it did it for quarter 1, and then they did not fail again for the whole rest of the year. So they kind of figured out what they needed to do. So it is possible to kind of stumble out of the gate. I hope that doesn't happen to you, but and then they were fine for the whole rest of the year. I had a handful of people do it for like past the first quarter. But it was a major win for those students. So for those students that needed it, if you fail that, especially that first quarter, and you think, oh, maybe I should drop the class, they did not drop the class. They did the grade recovery, but it was hard enough so that most students opted not to do it. They did not feel like it was worth it to do. I think it was worth it for them, and I think it paid dividends when we got to the final that they had bothered to go back and do that grade recovery. But bottom line, please try to avoid this by passing the first time. Okay. It's there. It's a safety net. It's a safety net for if the bottom falls out. And sometimes it does. And sometimes it's not your fault that the bottom falls out of a quarter. I have had all kinds of things happen with students in my class that caused them to fail for a particular quarter. a lot of like hospitalizations, that sort of thing, and they need to do that grade recovery. It's there to catch you, but please try to avoid it by taking advantage of the fact that I do late work, I backfill homework grades, I allow, I have that after school tutoring, I have all those videos, I do allow retakes. Like, really try to take advantage of the safety nets that come before you would need to do the grade recovery. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so what is the actual lesson topic for today's class? It's about how to structure work. And this is something that I put into my beginning of the year lesson plans because it was a huge issue last year. Math is supposed to be logical and organized. It's not supposed to be chaotic and random and like there's no order to it. And sometimes it's kind of a glimpse into how my students view math when I look at how they put the math on the page. Now, the beginning part of this lesson, which I am not going to make you make up the beginning part of it because I had to write on the page to get it photocopied. It was two people that did a problem, and one of them has it structured well and the other person does not have it structured well, and you kind of have to go back and look at the good work versus the chaotic work and give me some feedback on that. Okay, so that part you don't have to make up. But math isn't just about getting the right answer. In a testing, like we're kind of test crazy in education where it comes down to the test. You got to take the test. You guys have taken like your FSAs and now they're called the BEST depending on what year you were taking them. Used to be the FCAT. Okay, that we take these tests and like they're high stakes. Like you've got to pass this test. You got to take the SAT. But math isn't just about getting the right answer. Yes, we want to get the right answer. But we want to get the right answer because we're processing and we're understanding the math, not because we're guessing our way or cheating our way to the right answer. So it's also about the reasoning and the thought process that goes into a solution. How are you thinking about the problem that's in front of you? When I look at your work, I will be looking for both. I'm going to be looking for that answer, but I'm also going to be looking at how you're arriving at that answer. So show me your work. Okay, and don't show me work from Photomath. So help me. I've had students do calculus and algebra 2, and I know that you have no idea what you're writing down. Not you personally, just you general students, like no idea what this is calculus. You're not at calculus yet, so don't show me calculus work. Okay, work that jumps around in space or leaves out portions of the problem, even temporarily. Like so you had an equal sign, but then you didn't write the equal sign down for a couple lines, and then you brought the equal sign back. Okay, that's still not okay, even if it's just a temporary. It makes it hard for me to determine how much you understand or find where you made mistakes. So this becomes particularly important when you are confused or have a misunderstanding or a wrong answer, because I'm going to use your work to try to figure out where it's going wrong. Are you making one mistake, but you're making it in every single problem? Or are you making a bunch of different mistakes? Are the mistakes conceptual or are they careless? Everybody once in a while will say 3 plus 4 is 12 instead of 7, okay? Just because we're human. That's a careless mistake, unless you do it every single time, in which case it's a misconception. You need to be able to see your work and understand your work to determine that. For this class, you are expected to work from top to bottom. And each new line should follow from the line immediately above it. So take a look at the work shown below. It's actually on the back of the worksheet. It's going to be on the next slide. And answer the questions that follow. So if you're doing this at home, grab yourself a piece of paper and you can write like, I was absent from class, okay, at the top. So numbers 1 through 4, absent. Don't have to make that up. Now look at this. So we have, this is actually a problem that is taking the equation of a line from point slope form to slope intercept form. It's about a 3-step process. Sometimes it's more than 3 steps depending on how messy the numbers are. So take a look at that. We have y minus 14 equals 2 times x plus 3. And then the next line is y minus 14 equals 2x plus 6. And then y equals 2x plus 20. And there are 2 questions you need to answer. One is, where did the 6 come from in line 2? So this 6 right here, where did that 6 come from? Pause the video right now and write on your page, where did the 6 come from? All right. And the second question is, where did the negative 14 or minus 14 go in line 3? So what I'm asking there is, there was a minus 14 and it's not there anymore. Where did it go? Pause the video and on your page, answer that question. All right, now there's more than one right way to phrase this. So there's kind of a spectrum of answers that I would accept from this. So don't just blindly copy from a neighbor. Okay, if you're answering stuff like verbatim, it's kind of a tip off that you're not really doing the assignment. All right. So that's what we want to get at. Every line follows from the line above it. So if I were to say, where did the parentheses go? Okay, could be another question I could ask. Where did those parentheses go? There were parentheses and now there are no parentheses. Well, the answer to that would be, we did distribution. We distributed the 2 over the parentheses or over the addition. And then the parentheses went away. I could ask, where did the 20 come from? It was a 6. We had 2x plus 6, and now we have 2x plus 20. Where did that 20 come from? You could say, well, it's because we added 14. Okay, which just ties into your answer from question 6. But every line follows. Notice too, the equal sign is in every single line. We do not do like a piece of the problem and then there's no equal sign and then the equal sign comes back, because quite frequently the equal sign comes back and it comes back in the wrong place. Okay, so we keep that work steady the whole way down. Keeping your work organized, even if there are mistakes, and I would even say especially if there are mistakes, will help both you and me understand your process. So here are a few tips to keep in mind. Okay, generally work top to bottom so that related problem parts are near each other on the page. When you work top to bottom, now the equal sign does not like necessarily follow a perfectly straight line, like it can kind of move back and forth, but generally the equal sign is going to be near where it was in the line before. If you've got parentheses and you're distributing, the answer to that is going to be near on the page. If you go from left to right and you put these steps like horizontally, the pieces aren't near each other. So you have like 2 times x plus 3, and then the answer to that is like way far away on the page, and it makes it hard to figure out like your line of sight, what you're looking for. So the reason why your math teachers work top to bottom is very, very practical. It keeps the pieces of the problem in this flow so that they're close to each other on the page. Pay attention to the equal sign and make sure you do the same thing to both sides of it. Okay, that equal sign is like the balance point on a scale. Okay, it's a balance point. So if you add to one side, you add to the other side. If you subtract, it's always the same thing to both sides. And I have seen a lot of students like add 2 and they add it twice, but they add it on the same side of the equal sign. They're not adding it to the other side of the equal sign. So you really, really, really want to pay attention to that equal sign. If you need to do scratch work, be sure to place it off to the side and not in the body of the problem. So if you got some messy fractions or something and you're like, man, I got to do some scratch work with these fractions, take that scratch work off to the side and then come back to the body of the problem once you have the number that you need. And then lastly, don't try to cover mistakes or misunderstandings with chaotic work. Please let me see your best attempt. Okay, you are not going to disappoint me or get me angry if your work is wrong. Okay, not going to be an issue, but I do need to see it so that I can kind of see what's going on here. And sometimes students just like, I don't want the teacher to know how confused I am, and so they do really messy work or they don't do any work at all, and it just doesn't move us to where we need to go. Okay, so this is a totally safe place to make mistakes and allow me to see what you're doing, because you might feel like you're totally lost and confused, and I might look at it and say, all you did was you swapped like a wrong symbol here and you fix that mistake and then you're fine. All right, so this is the last part of the assignment here. So in the space below, solve the following equations and show your work as best you can. So what I want you to do, if you're doing this lesson from home, pause the video, write down number 7, number 8, and I want you to solve those equations as best you can, keeping in mind that you're going to work from top to bottom. Okay. If you're not sure what to do with the fraction, give it your best shot. Okay. Don't photomath it. Okay. Don't photomath it. Just give it your best shot. The goal of this lesson is to work on the structure of the problem, not necessarily make sure that we're getting all those right answers all the time. And if you are running into a problem and you just photomath it, then what I'm going to think, well, one, if you're photomathing calculus, I'm going to know that you're doing it. And secondly, if it is reasonable algebra 2 work, what I'm going to think is I'm going to think you understand it when you don't. And then I end up moving on or moving faster and I leave you behind, and I don't want to do that. Okay. All right. So pause the video and work out those two problems. All right. Now look back at your work and answer these questions. Does your equal sign appear in every line? If yes, yay. If no, I want you to go back to your work and I want you to figure out where that equal sign is supposed to be. If you realize you have done something to this problem that like you can't put the equal sign in every line, then maybe rework it. Okay. And then question 10, are there any numbers that you could not explain to another person where they came from? And if so, what are they? So kind of look over your work and look at all the different numbers. And like, if I were to pick any number on that page and say, where did that number come from? You would be able to answer that. So it might be, where did this 2 come from? Oh, I copied it from the line above. That's all you did. It came because I copied it from one line to the next. But you should be able to say, because I multiplied by 2, because I added 3, and we can see that. If there are things that you can't, like if I were to ask you where a number came from, I want you to go back and circle those numbers, okay? And let me see what it is that you're not sure about in your own work for the problem there. All right, your homework, okay, is a teacher communications platforms assignment, and this you can do from home. So what you're going to do is enroll in Formative. Formative is an online platform that I use for testing, quizzes, and some other types of assignments. I have been known to use it for like review or for warm up. I am going to use it for your at-home tests and stuff. Please use your school email address when you enroll, and take care to spell it correctly, because typos cannot be fixed, and they, students can't get in because they said, they left, I don't know, they left like an S off of students.duval.org or something, and then it says, no, we don't have this account. Like, I don't know. But it's a general rule of thumb, anything that you're signing up for school, use your school credentials. So use your school email and your school password. And that way, if this is a thing for school, it's going to be tied to your school credentials. So look up your class period. So this is an Algebra 2 video. So you're going to look down at period 7 or period 8. There's a code there. You're going to go to app.formative.com/join, and then you're going to enter that code and set up your account. If I have you for more than one class, which last time I looked at my class list, there's at least one of you that I have for multiple classes, okay? Be sure to sign up for both classes. So if I have you for like period 1 IED and period 8 Algebra 2, okay, you need to sign up for both, but you only need to do the assignment one time. Okay, you don't have to go and do the assignment twice. I will count it for both classes. Complete the assignment in Formative, titled Teacher Communication Platforms Assignment. This assignment will take you through, I had it at 5, and then I added a couple questions when I edited it yesterday. Involving email, I took Remind off and I put Desmos on. That will help you get acquainted with the various platforms that you need and basically have you set up all the accounts that you need to have set up for this class. And last slide, due August 27th, asterisk, asterisk. If you are watching this video because you joined the class late, I'm going to give you 2 weeks from whenever you joined the class and got your laptop. Now, the reason there's asterisks there is because I am doing this during the last day of pre-planning week, and we have about 1,400 laptops that we need to give out. And while there's like this goal to have them out, that might not happen. So I put on there August 27th, but if there's a delay in you getting a laptop and you actually can't do the assignment because it does involve going online, I will adjust that due date. So August 27th. ****. Great. So my email address, taylorr@duvalschools.org, or log into Teams, leave me a question. If you have questions about this particular assignment, what you should turn in, or about any of the safety nets, okay? And I will look forward to seeing you next class.